Hello everyone, Movie Hot is on the line. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the movie The Art of Self-Defense. Enjoy watching. When a couple of French tourists walked into a cafe, timid and clumsy accountant Casey Davies was already sitting there. They liked to joke around, saying all sorts of vulgar things in French, thinking no one understood them. The thing was, Casey was studying French and understood every word. At work, colleagues were discussing their boss and thinking about how to mess with him, for example, by burning his house down. But Casey intervened. You shouldn't do that. The boss's wife just had a baby, plus I was a guest at their house, and he's actually a really nice guy. That kind of popularity won't help you in the team. So you're the one checking our expenses? Well, fuck off out of here then. Casey was even too embarrassed to buy men's magazines. So he made a copy of one he found from a coworker, only at night. The man realized he was out of dog food and went to the store. Motorcyclists pulled up to him and asked if he had a gun. On the way back, a gang of bikers surrounded him and beat him severely. The robber motorcyclist committed another attack and sent Casey to the hospital. Now he was afraid to leave the house, which is why he hadn't been to work in a long time. Another bag of food ran out, and this time Casey wasn't going anywhere. During dinner, Casey saw on TV how a guy dealt with his enemy using a gun. The men's magazine also wrote about weapons, so the next day he went to a gun shop to buy a pistol for self-defense. Exactly the one I wanted. It fits well in the hand. The catch was that Casey had to wait a while for the seller to check his paperwork. Right then, a mustached man warned him that during a conflict, it's more often the armed person who dies. The gun owner often ends up shooting themselves, not someone else. On the way home, Casey passed by a karate academy, got interested, and went inside. The sensei declared, "Men were once taught to speak with words. I will teach them to speak with their fists and feet. I want to go shopping and get a movie." Casey was impressed and immediately asked if he could train with the others. Of course, especially since the first lesson is free. A girl named Anna also worked there, teaching karate to children. She told the little ones how to shatter an opponent's jaw with a spinning kick. She called over a chubby kid and, wrapping her arm around his neck, choked her student until he lost consciousness. Rule number 9, tap or nap, and the kid was best forgotten. Casey timidly approached the instructor. "Are you a beginner? The white belt? Is that like the starting one?" "The color white is not a color. You haven't earned a color yet." The beginner broke rule number 1. He stepped onto the mat with shoes on. With his uniform and belt, Casey entered the locker room. 2 half-naked men were practicing moves and a third was watching them. There's a lot of testosterone in this dojo. Henry offered to tie our hero's belt for him. He himself possessed a blue belt, a mid-level rank. There are also stripes for achievements. A red one, like Anna's, means she is a teacher, like the sensei. Black stripes are earned by the chosen ones. The sensei often spoke of the great master in the red gi, and he himself preferred to incorporate karate techniques from other disciplines. Rule number 10, if something works, use it. Today, Casey is paired with Kenneth, a purple belt with a black stripe. His partner immediately kicked Casey in the leg with full force. The sensei reprimanded him. "No need to hit like that in the day class. Casey here is more like kicking with his foot, not striking." Ken gave advice. To not be afraid when receiving a blow, think about hitting the opponent's leg with your torso. Casey liked the lesson and decided to continue training. Name? Casey Davies. Sounds very similar to a name. Answering the questionnaire, Casey didn't want to admit he was there because he had been attacked. There's a special room in the building that newcomers are not allowed to enter. The sensei came out of it with a belt and uniform. The belt is sacred. You must not lose it. But if it does happen, a replacement will cost $15. Now Casey constantly walked around the house in his GI. He got a call from the gun shop. Casey could pick up his pistol tomorrow, but the man refused. He had chosen a different path. But if you need it, you can pick up the piece anytime. The next 6 months. During a lesson, karatekas demonstrate their battle cry. Do that in a fight and you'll just make your opponent laugh. But Casey received praise. From then on, he trained hard and mastered the martial art. At home, he watched kung fu movies. That same bad boss called. Casey hadn't been to work for 2 months, and the boss had even paid for a week of his absence out of his own pocket. But he still had to return to the office. Casey learned that the best students with black stripes train in the night class. Today at the ceremony, Henry was supposed to receive such a stripe, and he was eagerly awaiting it. The sensei told the students that exactly 7 years ago, the great master was mistaken for a bird and accidentally killed by a shot to the face during a hiking trip. The 11th rule states, guns are for the weak. The master was the sole owner of the rainbow belt, which he invented and awarded to himself. It is the highest rank in all of karate. Furthermore, the great master possessed a secret signature move. He killed his opponent by piercing his skull with his index finger. Casey received his first promotion. Now he wore a yellow belt. Kenneth got a brown belt. But Henry didn't get his reward. He spoke up, but the sensei pulled out not a black stripe, but a black belt. He would award it to his most devoted student. Anna hoped it was about her, but alas, the belt went to an Asian man named Thomas. Brown belt, move over. Black is higher than brown. Your place is on the left now. Casey was very proud of his new belt. Too bad he couldn't wear it to work. His attempts to fit in with the collective remained futile. All Casey thought about was how to get back to training as soon as possible. At the store, he bought only yellow-colored products. In the parking lot, some bearded guy hit Casey's car with his door and was rude to him. And he didn't care that the wimp had a yellow belt in karate. You? Yeah, right. At home, Casey immediately put on his belt. During practice, only he couldn't break the wooden board. The sensei doubted the newcomer was worthy of the yellow belt. But that was no reason to give up on him. Casey must strive to become stronger. Finally, Casey admitted he was there because he had been attacked. He is afraid of the dark and of other men. The sensei promised to help him, but psychological attitude is important. For example, Casey should listen to metal, the most aggressive music, and replace his interest in France with Germany. Casey must become a man in everything. The sensei even made an exception and invited the yellow belt to the night class and gave Casey a black stripe. In the car, the man turned on that very metal, and instead of a croissant, he ordered black coffee at a cafe. Then he took a newspaper from an old man and started studying harsh German. The boss asked him to return to work, but this Casey punched him in the throat and said nasty things about his wife. Learning what Casey had done, colleagues offered to be friends. He chased one of them away. Casey told his dachshund he would no longer pet her. That same night, our hero went to the night class. Henry showed up too, even though he didn't have a stripe like the others. The sensei immediately called him over and broke the man's arm. The sensei cannot take the belt, but he can take an arm. Henry no longer has the right to come to the academy. Training in the night class was much tougher. Casey even knocked out Kenneth's tooth. As for Anna, she had a serious fight with Thomas. She put a bearded guy in a chokehold. He started tapping, but Anna didn't even think about loosening her grip. Next, she smashed the face of the opponent who was out cold. After practice, all the men stripped naked and started massaging each other. Casey didn't have a partner, so the sensei took him to Anna and apologized that he'd have to endure a massage from a woman. The women's locker room is located in a technical room. Anna gave Casey instructions. In the night class, you cannot be weak. Casey went to the sensei to show off his new item. He had a yellow belt custom made. After all, he couldn't wear his belt everywhere. And since the minimum factory order was 50 items, he made belts for all the students. The sensei proudly put on his black belt, which in reality was just an ordinary belt. For some completely inexplicable reason, Casey was fired from his job, and the sensei offered him to become the accountant for the academy. At night, Casey was awakened by a call from the sensei. He had found those who attacked his student. That night, the scoundrels were supposedly sitting in a bar. Some guy came out of the establishment, and the sensei immediately pointed at him. The instructor ordered Casey to attack the drunk biker. The yellow belt followed and punched him in the stomach. The poor guy smashed his head on the concrete. The sensei filmed it all, supposedly for the history of Casey's growth. Only now did he realize the drunkard hadn't come on a motorcycle, but on a bicycle. The sensei had lied to him. Returning home, Casey found his dachshund near death. It had been badly beaten and with fists. Saving the animal was impossible. But it had fought to the last, and there was the attacker's blood on its fangs. Casey came to a lesson and deliberately stepped onto the tatami in shoes. He also littered on the mat. The sensei came out. Casey accused the master of killing his dog and told him to go fuck himself. Right then, the sensei admitted that the beaten man wasn't a robber, and Casey knew that perfectly well. The student wanted to leave, but the psycho reminded him he had the recording. Casey lunged at the sensei, but he handled him with one hand. According to him, the night beating of Casey was the best thing that ever happened to the yellow belt in his entire life, and it helped him become who he always wanted to be. Today, he also expects the student at the night class. In the evening, Casey apologized, and the sensei planned to entrust him with teaching the children's group. Anna went her own way. She would never get a black belt in karate anyway. Her femininity got in the way. Now I see that being a woman, you can never become a man, and karate is only for men. After practice, Casey received black clothing. He was taken to a garage where motorcycles stood. He realized that it was the karatekas who had attacked him back then. Anna also insisted on coming along to watch over Casey. Their mission was to attack those who needed help and beat them up. Refusal wasn't an option, otherwise the sensei would kill him. Anna was about to attack another victim, but the man turned out to be a police officer and shot the girl in the leg. Casey walked right up and hit the cop. He couldn't stop himself and killed him to death. Police sirens were heard and the bikers fled the scene. Tomorrow, Casey will get a red stripe. In reality, they're given for killing a person. Anna recounted how she killed one of the students. He was higher ranking than her, and she always let him win. Back then, they had one locker room, and he attacked Anna because he considered her easy prey. But she strangled him with his own belt after tormenting him quite a bit. The sensei claimed she had provoked that student herself. Anna hoped Casey wouldn't return and gave him a ride home. The man was expecting a gift, an angry German shepherd to replace his late German dachshund. At night, Casey broke into the academy and entered the forbidden room. That's where the incriminating videotapes were stored. On that fateful night, Thomas wanted to kill him. The sensei was not against it, but Anna saved him. She supposedly heard a siren. The tape was labeled Likes Fists, Part 13. In the morning, in the utility room, the sensei found Henry, who had hanged himself with his blue belt. He dragged the body to the forbidden room and burned it in the furnace. Apparently, this wasn't the first time he'd done this. Then the psycho did some cleaning and, finishing, stared at the portrait of the great master. Casey approached him and announced that he wanted to kill him. "I will be the one to make Leslie stop breathing." Yes, he knew his sensei's name was Leslie, and it sounded even more similar than Casey. Leslie tried to buy him off with the black belt, but Casey still challenged him to a death match. The black belt was confident he could easily kill the student, so he agreed immediately. But when they stood facing each other, Casey simply pulled out a gun and shot Leslie in the head. Casey delivered 2 prepared speeches over the body because he couldn't choose the better one, stuck his index finger into the hole he'd made, and now lied to the students that he had killed the sensei in a fair fight using the same method as the great master. "If anyone doesn't like it, I'll poke their head with my finger too." Next, Casey asked all the students to hold out their hands. He checked each one and found a bandage on Thomas's hand, under which hid a wound from a dog bite. Casey called his shepherd over and ordered it to tear out Thomas's throat. After that, Casey took out the black belt. "I haven't earned it yet, but Anna most certainly has. Now she will be in charge of the dojo, and she will introduce the students to a new ideology." Casey began teaching the children's group, and next to the photograph of the great master, he hung a picture of his dachshund. What do you think about this movie? Share your opinion in the comments. If you enjoy short and honest movie recaps, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. There's a lot more coming.